is for Disney.
A new threat is coming to the Marvel multiverse, and the TVA's only hope to save it is the fourth wall breaking merc with a mouth, Deadpool. We've got a theory that not only explains why Deadpool was recruited by the TVA, but it actually explains why that weird out-of-the-box She-Hulk finale was actually directly setting up Avengers Secret Wars and the real big bad of the multiverse saga, a villain who has been around since the very first Secret Wars comic and who I can't wait to see on screen. Welcome back to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy, and the first trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine has arrived, and we have a lot of questions. What's Deadpool's mission? Why is he Marvel Jesus? And who the hell is this guy?
I will not let go of what is mine!
And speaking of Marvel Jesus, we've got this great Savior of the MCU shirt up on our merch store right now, as well as our Can You Tell Me How to Get to the MCU shirt with Bert and Ernie as Deadpool and Wolverine. Guys, thank you so much for watching our videos and supporting us, and shopping our merch store is the best way to directly support our channel so we can keep making the videos that you watch to love. Thanks so much for your support. Now, another big question is how will Deadpool's fourth wall breaking even work in the MCU?
I am Marvel Jesus.
I mean, take that line right there. Deadpool just name-dropped Marvel to a TVA agent, the company that owns and created this fictitious universe and the TVA itself. Is the TVA aware that it's part of a movie franchise? Do they even know about Kevin?
Were you expecting a man?
And, speaking of Kevin, this isn't the first time we've had fourth wall breaking in the MCU. She-Hulk broke the fourth wall and even physically traveled beyond that fourth wall to visit Marvel Studios in Burbank.
Why'd you make me sign if you were just gonna do that?
Everyone has to sign the NDA.
Person, hold on. What in the name of Marvel Jesus is a fourth wall?
Right, so breaking the fourth wall is an expression that comes from the theater. There is an unseen wall that separates the audience from the stage. We, the viewer, can see into the world of the story taking place on stage, but the characters on the stage are not supposed to be aware of us, the viewer. But when a character acknowledges the viewer, that is called breaking that invisible fourth wall. So when a character in a movie, or even a comic book, speaks directly to the viewer or reader, that's also called breaking the fourth wall. Take Ferris Bueller's Day Off, for example.
It's over. Go home.
You can also take things a step further with a character like Deadpool, who talks directly to the audience, but also acknowledges the fact that he's in a comic book, or in this case, in a movie.
Hello, I'd like to rent 7 copies of Iron Man 2, please.
Why would you want to rent 7 copies of the same movie?
Person, 7 copies? Why, with that kind of money, we could buy Iron Man 3.
Actually, you're right. Yes, sir, we do have 7 copies of Iron Man 2, and I'll throw in the novelization if you want.
Oh my God, what's that smell? It smells like a dead Ewok. I don't know why it smells like that.
Doug, put that away. Wait, hold on. Is that better?
Oh yeah, that's much better. What is that?
Well, my friend, that is my Drift air freshener. And when I opened it, I cannot believe it smelled this good. It's made by Drift, our partner for this video. So Drift is the sister company to Scentbird. And you guys know, we talk about Scentbird cologne all the time here on the channel. But Drift is an air freshener for your home or car. Now this one is specifically made for a car. It even comes with this metal clip for your sun visor. Now this fragrance is called Teak. It's got notes of musk, amber, pepper, and of course, teak.
Oh yeah, and I am also getting notes of cedar.
Very good. And what I love most about this is how this scent is unlike any other car air freshener I've ever smelled. It makes sitting in your car feel like you're in a space with like really well-made wooden furniture. It's how you want to smell every time you leave the house. Now, this lasts up to 30 days, and their car fresheners only cost $9 to $15, which believe me is worth it to smell this good. But what I really recommend is their Scent of the Month Club, which is a subscription that sends you this starter kit and then monthly refills. This includes the Scent of the Month with a new limited edition scent inspired by the seasons. The subscription is flexible. You can change your scent, choice, frequency, or cancel at any time. So make sure to use my coupon code SCREEN55 for 55% off your first month at Drift. That is less than $5 for your first month. Just check out our link below. Okay, so back to fourth wall breaks. In the comics, they ground Deadpool's fourth wall breaks with the excuse that he's a little insane. So everyone around him believes that he just thinks he's in a comic book or thinks he's in a movie. The same goes for the She-Hulk show. Usually when she broke the fourth wall, it wasn't anything too over the top. It was fun that we as the viewer could be talked to by the main character, but in canon, you could write it off as a side effect of her becoming She-Hulk. Because, keep in mind, we didn't see Jen break the fourth wall until after getting her powers. After all, a big part of being a Hulk is having multiple personalities, so maybe this is just Jen's internal discourse with herself.
Yeah, or it could just be a fun way to tell a story and connect with the main character, and you're just overthinking it.
You make me feel ugly sometimes. Yeah, right, 100%. Fourth wall breaking in most circumstances doesn't require some scientific explanation as to how the character is aware that they're in a movie or a show or whatever. whatsoever. It's just a fun storytelling technique that doesn't require explanation. But when you have fourth wall breaking taking place in a show that's part of a bigger cinematic universe, or multiverse I should say, things like characters talking into the camera and directly to the viewer go beyond just being a fun technique. Now, we've mentioned before how the show Fleabag had a really fun take on breaking the fourth wall. Fleabag never mentioned that she knew she was in a show, she just talked to the viewer. But it's implied that the viewer are meant to be God. This is implied when the priest can hear Fleabag talking to us. My point is, She-Hulk and Deadpool take breaking the fourth wall further by acknowledging that they are characters in a movie and not just having an inner monologue. And what's weird is, they don't really seem bothered by that fact. I mean, imagine if you all of a sudden learned that you were in a movie or a TV series. That'd be like pretty life-altering.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
I think their ability to see beyond the fourth dimension is going to make them a key piece to saving the multiverse. And I have two theories on who exactly Deadpool and She-Hulk are talking to, and how their fourth wall breaking will play a major role in Avengers Secret Wars. In the Marvel Comics, there is a race of aliens called the Beyonders. Now, they are what's called higher dimensional beings, who exist on a plane of existence higher than our own 4 dimensions. They were created by the Celestials and watched over the Marvel multiverse, a multiverse which they existed outside of. Now, I'm not just cherry picking a random cosmic bad guy from the comics. The Beyonders were the main antagonists in every Secret Wars comic book, and later we'll explain those comics and how they fit perfectly into the MCU. For a long time, the Beyonders were not able to be seen by any lower dimensional beings, including the Watcher, and any lower dimensional being that did see them was unable to understand what they saw. Their brains were unable to comprehend beings of a dimension so far beyond their own. You'd have to be a little insane to even begin to see the Beyonders. The Beyonders were so advanced that in order to interact with lower dimensional beings, they had to operate through what they called agents. Agents were various beings that existed on the same plane as humans that could interact with those within the multiverse and served as a proxy for the Beyonders. The Beyonders studied the Marvel multiverse as entertainment, almost like it was a TV show, and they even hired a race called the Nuali to create a place called the Savage Land. Now, we mentioned the Savage Land in our trailer breakdown as a possible place that Deadpool travels to. The Savage Land is basically a hidden jungle where dinosaurs still roam even in the modern day, and the most prominent Marvel characters to visit there are, you guessed it, the X-Men characters. So, I'm giving you this history on the Beyonders because what if they are the beings that Deadpool and She-Hulk are speaking to? What if they are the threat lying beyond the multiverse? What if He Who Remains Sacred timeline kept the Marvel multiverse hidden from the view of the Beyonders? But now that Loki has allowed the multiverse to expand, the Beyonders have found us, and they're watching us, using us as entertainment and planning to take over and rob us of our free will that Loki gave the multiverse when he took the throne.
But how does that tie in with like Kevin and all that stuff?
Great question. And look, I don't love the idea of having MCU movies be movies in their own canon. I wasn't crazy about the implications of She-Hulk breaking to the Disney Plus launch screen and literally traveling to Marvel Studios to change her entire life. It's a little much. I prefer fourth wall breaking to be subtle like it was for most of the She-Hulk episodes and how it was for the first 2 Deadpool movies. And what I mean by subtle is that the fourth wall breaking had nothing to do with the plot of the show or movie. It was just a feature and not the product itself. But it would appear that Deadpool, knowing he's a movie character, could be a major piece to the plot of this film. And things may just get as wild as they did in that She-Hulk finale. We don't hear the details of Deadpool's mission in the trailer, but we hear him say to Agent Paradox,
Your little cinematic universe is about to change forever.
and then he refers to himself as Marvel Jesus, like our Marvel Jesus shirt, implying that whatever the mission is may involve Deadpool's fourth wall breaking ability.
I'm sorry, did you say Agent Paradox?
Paradox, yeah. So Tom from Succession is playing a character called Paradox. In the comics, he's one of the TVA judges that oversees the trial of She-Hulk. She-Hulk stood trial at the TVA for violating the timeline, and he was one of the judges who sentenced her to be erased from existence. I also think that Agent Paradox could be a rogue agent who is working for the Beyonders, but more on that in just a bit. Paradox tells Wade that he's special, and he's seemingly recruiting him for a special mission that involves traveling to different moments from throughout the MCU, such as these scenes in Age of Ultron, this scene in Thor Ragnarok, and these scenes from Winter Soldier. We have a video up on the channel right now where myself, Heather Antos, and Colton Ogburn discuss our theories on what that mission could be, and I think that we may have all been onto something here. As you probably know, Deadpool's first 2 movies, as well as all the X-Men movies, were made by 20th Century Fox, but after the release of Deadpool 2, Disney bought 20th Century Fox, and Deadpool and the Fox-era X-Men characters are now under the Marvel Studios banner.
X-Men isn't new for me, friendo, but it is for Disney.
So, what if Disney's purchase of Fox has something to do with this mission? What if that merger is affecting the stability of the Marvel multiverse? 20th Century Fox was essentially pruned in our own reality. It no longer exists. It's been replaced with 20th Century Studios. So, what if that also happened in Kevin's reality? The one that She-Hulk traveled to in her finale, where things like Disney and Marvel Studios exist. I mean, we see the freaking 20th Century Fox statue in the void, almost as if it got dropped there when Kevin pruned it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is all pretty meta.
Yes, it's very meta and it's perfect for Deadpool. We also saw other things in the Void that could have come from that reality, such as this copy of Secret Wars featuring Dr. Doom on the cover. Another character, by the way, whose movie rights were once owned by 20th Century Fox. Seeing objects from the real world in the Void is another example of the fourth wall being broken. In Loki, we saw tons of things from different Marvel universes in the Void. Ramatut Sphinx, the Avengers Tower turned Kang Tower, the Thanos Copter, I could go on. The point is, these were things from within the Marvel multiverse. But now in the Void, we have things like statues of movie studio intros that don't even physically exist. The very movie studios that made a lot of Marvel movies. And we're seeing Marvel comic books. Now this implies that the universe we saw She-Hulk travel to, the universe where Kevin exists, the universe where he was surrounded by Marvel comics, the things in that universe can be pruned and then transported into the Void. And I think that's exactly what's happening. In She-Hulk, we learned that Kevin is very proud of his creation.
I possess the most advanced entertainment algorithm in the world.
And we even hear Jen ask about the X-Men.
Oh, and when are we getting the X-Men?
And we can even see Deadpool comics in Kevin's lair. So what if Kevin has purchased the rights to the 20th Century Fox X-Men universe and has begun incorporating that universe into the MCU? And he's pruning from existence the movies, plot lines, and characters he doesn't like, and he's keeping the things he does like, such as an updated Kelsey Grammer Beast.
Which is, of course, impossible.
Everything Kevin doesn't want to be part of the MCU gets thrown into the Void, and Kevin's next step is pruning the X-Men universe that Deadpool comes from, a universe that was never very consistent with its timeline.
McAvoy or Stewart? These timelines are so confusing.
Kevin's not interested in incorporating any of Deadpool's friends or other Fox X-Men characters into the MCU. He just wants Deadpool and, of course, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Also, he can make a Deadpool and Wolverine movie and save Marvel Studios. Kevin writes it into his master script for Deadpool to be arrested by the TVA, taken from his universe, and then sent by the TVA into the MCU.
This is your chance.
To be a hero among heroes.
Now, at first, Deadpool was very excited to learn that he gets to join the MCU and be part of the Avengers. After all, he's a fan.
Any tips on getting into the MCU there, Korg?
We could even hear Agent Paradox mention that Marvel has had a few clunkers and that Deadpool is just who they need to spice things up and save the Marvel Universe, to which Deadpool says,
I am Marvel Jesus.
Deadpool's first mission could be to travel to the start of Avengers Age of Ultron and kill Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver. And Kevin's plan is to then insert Evan Peters' Quicksilver into that movie because he was more liked by fans. But then Deadpool objects. He realizes that only a lucky few of the Fox-era X-Men characters are being allowed to go into the MCU. He then asks what's going to happen to his friends and the love of his life, Vanessa. Paradox explains that they're looking at rebooting the Colossus character with The Rock, and maybe they want Jenna Ortega for the new Vanessa. Deadpool makes a quip about, I love The Rock, but their movie Red Notice already bombed, and that he binge-watched Wednesday as soon as it dropped, but he's not Leonardo DiCaprio, so she's just a little young for him. But after his defense mechanism of humor subsides, Wade starts to get really upset that he was lied to and says that he wants to go back home. And this is when Paradox reveals that his home no longer exists, and that the universe Wade comes from has been pruned. Deadpool then freaks out and starts slaughtering TVA agents. He then prunes himself so he can go find Vanessa in the Void along with his other friends. Once he's in the Void, Deadpool meets the other Fox-era X-Men who have been pruned, and he embarks on a mission to find his friends. And along the way, he meets Wolverine.
Don't just stand there, you ape. Give me a hand up.
Like Deadpool, Wolverine will also have had an altercation with the TVA that lands him in the Void for non-compliance. Wolverine had no interest in joining another superhero team and was perfectly fine being retired. After Deadpool and Wolverine meet and have their big fight over God knows what, they'll team up to save the Fox universe.
So how does Kevin and all that tie in with the Beyonders?
Well, in the Secret Wars comics, there's a character called the Beyonder. He was actually created before the Beyonders, and he was later retconned into being part of their alien group. Now, in the original comic, it's the Beyonder who gathers Marvel's villains and heroes and places them on a planet called Battle World to watch them fight. And in the newer version of Secret Wars, we see variants of Marvel characters forced to battle. The Beyonder grew up in a universe beyond that of the Marvel multiverse, a universe designed specifically for the Beyonder's youth to grow. During an experiment on Molecule Man, the Beyonders accidentally poked a hole in the universe of this young Beyonder. Long story short, Molecule Man is this guy named Owen Reese. He's very, very powerful and can manipulate molecules. He plays a big role in Secret Wars. The Beyonders use him to try to destroy the Marvel universe. Dr. Doom finds out and starts hunting down every version of Molecule Man throughout the multiverse, and he ends up absorbing their power. It's really cool. We don't have time to get into all that now, but let us know down in the comments below if you want a video about all that, and maybe we can make one. Anyways, when experimenting on the Molecule Man, they poke a hole in the Beyonders universe, and he becomes aware of the Marvel multiverse. He essentially becomes a fan and takes on a human form so he can go experience life on Earth. And I think that's what's happening here. I think after spending some time on Earth, the Beyonder created his own Earth in his own universe because he was tired of being alone. And remember, his universe exists on a higher plane of existence than the Marvel Multiverse. When he was young, he watched the Marvel Multiverse for entertainment, and now he has transformed it into the content that those in his universe can watch as well.
The Beyonder is Bob Iger. Oh my God.
Nice, high five. So, in this theory we've crafted, the Beyonder lives in the same universe as Kevin, the universe that She-Hulk traveled to in her finale. And here's where our weird little fanfiction gets weirder. As we've speculated before, the entire MCU could exist within a simulation.
I possess the most advanced entertainment algorithm in the world.
Beneath Kevin's lair, we see tons of computers below the glass, almost like a server room or a render farm. Now, this is really the only explanation after seeing Kevin literally edit the events of the MCU in real time, like he's George Lucas cutting the Phantom Menace.
We'll come back to this shot, take Panaka, slip him out of sync so he doesn't start to move.
And before you click off because you think this idea is stupid, hear me out. There have been lots of really interesting discussions about our entire universe existing within a simulation. And the whole concept of living in a simulation and not even knowing it was explored in a brilliant episode of Black Mirror called Joan is Awful. In Joan is Awful, we'll see a young woman start watching a news show only to realize that it's mimicking her life in almost real time. And they're using advanced AI technology to create this seemingly live-action show with CGI.
Inside this computer, there's a version of you playing me who thinks she's real?
I think something similar could be happening here with the Beyonder. He's the one who created the Marvel Universe, and his AI assistant, Kevin, helps him to process algorithms to deliver optimal programming to his people. This would be an awesome social commentary on the current state of the movie industry and the threats of AI, and who better to do that than Deadpool?
Passion of the Christ, then me. At least domestically. We beat them overseas, where there's no such thing as religion.
But if they're in a simulation, how did She-Hulk physically go there?
Well, maybe characters like She-Hulk, Deadpool, and even Loki to a degree are glitches in the system that have to be combated. Kevin even calls She-Hulk a glitch in the finale.
You will not be able to access the KEVIN again.
What?
That error on our platform has been fixed.
Maybe She-Hulk's whole experience in the finale was a facade, and Kevin and that world don't even exist, and it was all an illusion to make her think that she was in control of her own story, so that she won't rock the boat and discover the man behind the curtain. And hey, maybe they aren't ones and zeros. Maybe they're just perceived as that by higher dimensional beings like the Beyonders. I mean, it would be pretty anticlimactic to learn that these characters we love are fake, even within their own canon. But then you get into the discussion of what reality even is. If you learned you were in a simulation, would you feel any less real? Would you love your family any less? Would you fear death any less? Of course not. And that opens the door for a really interesting social commentary on not only the current state of the movie industry, but also artificial intelligence, but also consciousness and our place in the universe as well. And that's the exact kind of nuance the MCU could really use right now. And the overall theme would be that these are real people with real emotions who can feel pain, feel love, and have self-awareness. And they are being manipulated and controlled by a force from beyond that uses them for entertainment. Almost like a tyrannical king watching his subjects fight to the death for sport. And Deadpool and She-Hulk are the only ones who can help Loki, the TVA, and the Avengers see into the beyond and take on the Overlord who seeks to rule them. By the way, thanks again Drift for partnering with us on this video. Check out their links below. So, do you think that Deadpool and She-Hulk's break into the fourth wall will play a major role in Secret Wars? And who do you think they're talking to beyond that fourth dimension? Big shout out to the writer of this video, Mr. Colton Ogburn, the guy who's trapped eternally in our small television but doesn't know it, so please don't tell him. You can find his social links below. And you can also leave a comment, let us know what you think of the video, or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.